But the first player I wanted to talk about, I know there were concerns about Taysom Hill. He didn't necessarily look fantastic, but he had a really good fantasy day. 15 for 21, 175 yards, within 73 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. So I wanted to play a little bit of a name game where I'm trying to figure out where that comfort level is for Taysom Hill going into the playoffs, because he's got this kind of rushing upside. It doesn't matter if he throws for 100 yards. He can get 70 plus yards on the ground and a couple touchdowns each week. So let's start with some names we've already talked about. Russell Wilson or Taysom Hill in your fantasy playoffs?
That's a good one.
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill, is it the rushing upside, Josh? You just like that floor from him?
Yeah, absolutely. I love what I've seen. I mean, that's what makes his fantasy value. He looks really good as a runner. They set up runs for him to be the guy. 11 carries, 73 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. I feel very comfortable with this.
Yeah. Jay, what about you? Russell Wilson or Taysom Hill?
I can't believe I'm saying it, but yeah, it's Taysom Hill. He's got the floor with the floor and the upside with the rushing, and he's proven the past 3 weeks he can do it. Even when the game is ugly, when he doesn't play good from an actual football perspective, he's still putting up fantasy numbers. I will say, tough matchup next week against the Rams for Russell Wilson at the Rams, and we've seen in the past divisional games late in the season, Russell Wilson kind of disappears. So yeah, there's no doubt in my mind I'd go Taysom.
Now, the Taysom's playoff schedule, maybe this changes it. He goes up against the Buccaneers, who are 14th against opposing quarterbacks, the Dolphins, 13th against opposing quarterbacks, and then Panthers, who are 5th against opposing quarterbacks. So I know the Panthers were better at the beginning of the season, but that is not an easy schedule. The worst team against quarterbacks that he's going up against in these playoffs is the Buccaneers, who are still a top half defense against opposing quarterbacks in fantasy football. So one more name I'll throw out there. This is another guy ranked similarly. Taysom Hill or Matthew Stafford going into your fantasy playoffs?
Stafford. No question.
Okay. I think we found exactly where that line is. He's a back end QB1, and you're probably starting him if you picked him up. He's
right there behind Dak. We talked about Dak earlier. He's like the next quarterback you mentioned after Dak in my mind.
I'll be honest. Yep. I'm starting Taysom over Dak until I see Dak play better.
And I think that's fair. That's super fair. That's super duper fair.